campers and staff, friends of Gucci. This is going to take a little work on your part, a little imagination. So let's imagine that it's summertime and we're down in the Midura. It's a Friday night. The camp fire is burning. We can hear the crickets cricketing. Maybe we can even hear the frogs croaking across the way at the brecha. The song leaders are circling around the campfire singing. We're all singing together. It's hot. We're sweating. It's Gucci. It's summertime. Friday night. And the song leaders stop and they sit down, and some camp director named Ron gets up to tell a story. So this is what he says. He says, a long time ago, far away across the ocean, in a small town in Poland, a town called Tarnów, there lived a small Jewish community. Right in the center of the town was their Beit Knesset, their synagogue, and they were surrounded on all sides by the non-Jewish community. Didn't really bother the Jews of Tarnów too much, but there were those in the non-Jewish community that didn't exactly like the fact that they had a little shtetl of Jews right in the center of their town, a village in the center of their town. As a matter of fact, there was one person in that city who really disliked the Jews. He was the sheriff. And the sheriff came to the mayor and said to the mayor, I want to get rid of these Jews. I want these Jews to have to leave Tarnów. I want to close that synagogue, and I think I know a way to do it. Got permission from the mayor to try. The next Friday night, all of the Jews of the little shtetl, the little village of Tarnów, were in their Beit Knesset, in their synagogue. The rabbi was on the bima. He was about to begin the tefillah, the service, when the doors at the back of the room opened, and in marched the sheriff, just barged right in. Everybody was silent. It's kind of a scary thing. He walked right up to the bima. He walked right up onto the bima. He looked at the rabbi. He pointed at him and he said, Rabbi, you're a fraud. You're a liar. You're a fraud. People in the congregation went, that was unheard of. This was their rabbi. The sheriff said, you're a fraud because you call yourselves the people of the book. You claim that you're the people of the book, the Bible, the Torah. You claim that you're the people of the book and therefore know what's in the book, and I know that you don't. I'm going to expose this Jewish community as a fraud. Here's my challenge to you. Next week, I'm going to bring a scholar to the synagogue. I want you to pick somebody in your congregation to have a contest with this scholar. It will be a contest of answering questions about Judaism. And I'm sure that we will show once and for all that you're a fraud, that your people are liars. And if that's the case, I'm going to put a lock on the doors of this synagogue and it will never open again. I'll be here next Friday night for the contest. Turned around, marched down the center aisle of the Beit Knesset, out the double doors, bang! They slammed shut. And it was completely silent in that room. Well, of course, the rabbi was shaken, but he had enough wherewithal to get himself together, pull himself together, and he started the tefillah, and they had Shabbat. But at the end of the service, they had a meeting where the rabbi came down from the bima and he said, we have to meet this challenge. Somebody in the congregation has to represent us in this contest. Who will it be? Will it be you? Will it be you? Everybody was afraid. Nobody would volunteer. The rabbi pleaded with them, somebody has to step up and volunteer. And after a few moments, from the back of the room, they saw a hand go up. The congregation split. There, standing at the back of the synagogue, was Shloimi. Shloimi was called Shloimi the Schlumper because he was such a schlumper. He used to schlumper around. He was a schlumper, you know. He was always bent over. He was always not a very smart person at all. They even made fun of him by calling him Shloimi the Schlumper. The rabbi went up to him and said, Shloimi, It's very nice of you to volunteer, but you were the worst student we ever had in our school. You were the worst student I ever taught. How could you possibly win this contest?" And Shlomi said, "Well, then let somebody else do it." But nobody else would volunteer. The rabbi looked at Shlomi and he said, "Shlomi, I'm worried because I remember when you were a student, you could only learn one Hebrew phrase. And that phrase was Ani lo yodea, which means I don't know. Because every question I ever asked you, you responded with Ani lo yodea, I don't know. Ani lo yodea, I don't know. So I don't understand how you could possibly represent us and win this contest, but nobody else will do it. So Shlomi, you are our representative." The next Friday, the sheriff walked into the synagogue right before Shabbat services were about to begin. Everybody in the Jewish community was there. He marched up onto the bima. Behind him was the scholar, who looked very scholarly. And behind him, a person in a black robe with a gavel, a little wooden hammer. He was the judge. The sheriff announced, "This is our representative. Who is your representative?" Slowly, from the back of the room, Shloimi, the shlumper, got up. And he shlumped his way up to the bima. And he shlumped his way onto the bima. He was Shloimi the shlumper. The sheriff announced, "This is our judge. He will judge. Whoever answers a question incorrectly first will lose, and the other will be declared the winner. The gavel will come down, and the winner will be declared." Shloimi stood on one side of the bima, the scholar on the other side. The sheriff turned to Shloimi the shlumper and said to him, "You asked the first question." Shloimi looked at the scholar and he said, "What does Ani lo yodea mean?" The scholar said, "I don't know." Bang went the gavel. Shloimi the shlumper was declared the winner of the contest. Everyone cheered for Shloimi the shlumper. The sheriff was defeated. They left the synagogue. Shabbat services began. When the service was done, the rabbi called Shloimi the shlumper back up onto the bima. He asked him to raise the Kiddush cup as they all sang Kiddush at the beginning of that Shabbat. You know, they say in Tarnov that on that Shabbat, the candles glowed a bit more brightly than ever before, and the wine never tasted as sweet. Shabbat Shalom, Gucci. Be warm. See you next time. Leitrot.